Okay, so you're here with us on the deep dive, because I'm guessing you've heard about this cryptocurrency, Shiba Inu.
SHIB.
SHIB. And you probably want to get like a better handle on what's going on with it.
Yeah, I mean, Shiba Inu, it falls into that category of meme coins. And it's interesting because they're often,
Right.
they kind of start as a joke online and then actually develop into significant assets.
Like real things.
Yeah, in the crypto world, often very volatile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiba Inu itself launched back in August of 2020 and kind of, with the idea of it being the Dogecoin killer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and the price history is pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, especially that 2021 bull run. I remember that pretty vividly.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of established cryptocurrencies were making gains, but then SHIB just
Exploded.
Yeah. It was like a whole other level. I mean, there were some early investors who made some serious fortunes.
Absolutely. It's incredible the kind of returns that we saw, and that's really what we're kind of diving into today.
Yep.
We're going to try and unpack, what were the drivers behind that volatility, both then and now.
Right.
We've looked at all sorts of stuff from the early stories of, these life-changing games to, the most up-to-date analyses that are
Sure.
kind of trying to predict, where SHIB might go in the future. So hopefully we can give you a bit of a clearer picture.
I like it. Yeah. Okay. So let's get straight into it. So 2021, that like meteoric rise.
It was crazy.
It was like, it almost feels like a legend now.
Yeah.
How big were those gains and how fast did it happen?
I mean, the speed and the scale of the gains were truly remarkable. It launched in August of 2020, and then within a pretty short period, the price just skyrocketed.
Wow.
One of the sources we looked at mentioned that if you'd put in $65
Yeah.
back on the 2nd of August 2020, that'd be worth like over $1 million today.
Really?
So just to put it into perspective,
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's
This kind of event, it really just highlights, the power of these community-driven narratives in crypto.
Right.
And the potential, for really rapid wealth creation, but also destruction,
Right.
These are highly speculative assets.
Of course, yeah. It's kind of like the Wild West out there, I guess, in some ways. But yeah, I mean, $1 million from $65.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that those stories, go viral
Yeah.
and get people so interested in it.
Yeah.
But it didn't stop there, did it?
No, it got even more extreme.
Yeah.
Shiba Inu had its peak on October 28th, 2021.
Okay.
And the price got up to 0.00008616. So if you'd perfectly timed the market and sold at the high, that $65 investment would have been worth $6.69 million.
$6.69 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Absolutely.
What was the key driver behind that kind of growth? I mean, was it just hype? Was there something else going on?
I mean, the online community and the enthusiasm there definitely played a role.
Yeah.
But a real turning point was an action taken by Vitalik Buterin, who is the co-founder of Ethereum.
Right.
And so when Rebound launched, the developers sent him half of the total supply of the tokens.
Wow.
And so he did something pretty incredible. He decided to burn 90% of those tokens and donate the other 10% to charity.
So if I'm understanding this right, that means he basically took 90% of the tokens out of circulation.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, permanently.
Permanently. And so that just sent the price sky high because demand was so high and the supply just plummeted.
Exactly. Basic supply and demand, but like on steroids.
Yeah.
In the crypto world, that was a massive signal to the market.
Totally. Yeah, because it creates that scarcity, but it also kind of, I guess, lends some legitimacy to the project as well.
Yeah. You've got Vitalik Buterin involved in it, even though it was kind of unintentional, like kind of,
right.
Gave it a bit of a boost, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So we've talked about this crazy past, but if we kind of come back to the present, the picture's quite different, isn't it? I mean, the crypto market in general has been having a bit of a rough time recently, and SHIB has certainly been feeling that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It has.
The headlines lately have been talking about SHIB potentially adding another zero to its price. I mean, that's got to be a pretty serious concern for anyone who's holding SHIB right now.
Yeah, it is. Since February, the price has fallen by about 35%. So it's dropped from a high of 0.000000000001238.
Wow.
So the big question is, will it break below that 0.000001 level,
Right.
that support level.
What exactly is the support level?
So a support level, it's basically a price floor
Okay.
where there's enough buying interest to stop it from falling further.
Gotcha.
So if SHIB breaks below that, there's a real psychological impact of seeing another zero in the price, and that could lead to further selling.
Right. So it's kind of like a tipping point almost.
It is.
Where people will see that and either panic and sell, or they'll maybe see it as an opportunity to buy more.
Yeah, it's a real test of confidence for sure.
Yeah. What are the technical analysts saying about the likelihood of that happening?
So the technical analysis is kind of mixed, but maybe with a slight bit of optimism.
Okay.
That SI might hold above that new zero, at least for now.
Okay.
It did touch 0.0000001082 last week briefly.
Oh, wow.
But that actually triggered some buying, which pushed the price back up by 26%.
Really?
So up to around 0.0000000138.
So like a sharp drop and then a big bounce back up. But I've
Yeah.
seen the report saying that it didn't really hold on to those gains.
That's right. It couldn't sustain that momentum, and it's retraced about 10%. But currently, that 0.000001 level is still acting as a key support.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a psychological line in the sand for
Right.
a lot of investors.
Okay, so we've talked about that level.
Yeah.
But what about the Bollinger Bands?
Oh, yeah.
How do they factor into all of this?
So Bollinger Bands are essentially price guardrails.
Okay.
They've got a middle band, which is a moving average of the price.
Okay.
And then upper and lower bands that kind of give you a measure of the volatility. So with a SHIB, the indicator suggests that it hasn't been able to stay above its middle band,
Okay.
which can often mean that it's going to move down towards that lower band.
Gotcha.
The good news is that the lower band is currently sitting at about 0.0000001123.
Okay, so that's still above that critical 0.00000001 level.
Right.
So is that maybe like another layer of support suggesting it might not actually fall below that level in the immediate future?
Yeah, potentially. Some of the technical indicators are pointing to that,
Okay.
that there's enough support there to keep it above that new zero for the time being.
But again, we've got to keep in mind that the crypto market,
It's so volatile.
it's so volatile, things can change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though the charts might be giving us a little bit of hope, it's really no guarantee.
Right.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked about price action, which is often driven by, speculation and just overall sentiment in the market.
Yeah.
But is the Shiba Inu team actually working on giving SHIB more fundamental value, like actual utility,
Yes, they are.
beyond just being a meme coin?
Yeah, they're really trying to transform SHIB into a much more functional and sustainable ecosystem.
Interesting.
They've even been reaching out to Elon Musk,
Oh, wow. Okay.
to try and get him on board.
I mean, it makes sense. I guess he's got a huge amount of influence in this space. So
Yeah.
it's a smart strategy to at least try to get his attention.
Exactly.
So what are they doing exactly to move SHIB beyond just the meme aspect?
Well, there's a few key things they're focusing on first. There's Shibarium, which is a layer 2 blockchain
Okay.
built on top of Ethereum.
Okay.
So think of it as like a faster and cheaper side road
Okay.
that runs alongside the main Ethereum highway.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It launched back in August of 2023, and the main idea is to reduce transaction fees and speed up transaction times.
Right. So lower fees, faster transactions, those are pretty important for any real world use.
They're critical.
Yeah. Okay. So what else?
And then there's ShibDev, which is really closely linked to Shibarium, and that's a platform where developers can go
Okay.
and they get the tools and resources they need to build their own projects
Cool.
on the Shibarium blockchain. And we're already seeing some games being built on it.
Oh, wow.
But the team's vision is much broader than that. They want to support real-world applications as well.
So they're building a community around it.
Absolutely.
They're not just keeping it in-house. They're letting other developers kind of join in on the fun.
Yeah.
You mentioned gaming. I know that they've been making a push into that space.
Yeah, they've got 5 games available at the moment.
Wow.
Shiba Eternity, Lapdogs, Shibridge, Shiboshi Rush, and Agent Shiboshi.
Okay.
So these games, they offer entertainment, obviously, but they also aim to reward players with SHIB.
Okay.
And I think importantly, they broaden the reach of the brand.
Yeah, it just makes it more accessible, I guess, to the average person as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who might not be super into crypto, but loves gaming. Yeah. Okay, what else?
Well, then there's SHIB, the metaverse.
Oh, right, the metaverse.
Which is a virtual world, and the aim there is to kind of create a more immersive experience for the users within the SHIB ecosystem.
Right.
And to unlock new use cases.
Yeah, I mean, the metaverse, it still feels like we're kind of in the early stages of what that could be.
It does, yeah. It has a lot of potential.
Yeah. But it's not really mainstream yet.
Oh,
but definitely a forward-thinking kind of idea. I like that.
Yeah.
What about partnerships? Are there any notable ones that they've formed?
Yeah, they've got a few. They're working with Canine Finance, Chainlink, and Zama.ai.
Okay.
And they're focusing on things like blockchain technology improvements, integrating AI, decentralized finance, things like that.
It's cool to see how they're kind of branching out and not just staying in their lane.
Yeah.
And working with other experts in different areas.
Yeah, and I think most notably, they've partnered with the UAE government to look at using blockchain for governance.
Wow, that's pretty significant.
It is, yeah. It kind of suggests, a move towards, real world utility.
Yeah.
At a government level.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Anything else in the works?
Yeah, they've also launched SHIB OS.
Okay.
Which is a system on Shibarium, and that was just this year.
Okay.
And that's all about streamlining the user experience.
Oh, right.
So making transactions easier.
Okay.
Improving the gaming experience.
Right.
Simplifying admin tasks.
Cool.
And then finally, there's SHIB Torch, which is a token burning mechanism.
Oh, right. I've heard about this.
Launched last year.
Okay.
And basically that removes SHIB tokens from circulation over time.
Right. So it's kind of like what Uterin did.
Yeah, similar principle.
But this is like an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's built into the network.
Built into the network. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it definitely seems like the Shiba Inu team is really trying to build this more substantial ecosystem with some real world use.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question is, will it be enough?
That is the big question. Yeah. Will it change the long-term perception of SHIB and ultimately its value?
Right. Okay, so let's talk about something else that's been in the news lately.
Yeah.
I've been seeing reports that some of the big SHIB and Dogecoin holders, the whales, they seem to be moving their focus onto newer projects.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So there's this trend where these whales are getting more and more interested in these newer projects. Yeah. And one that keeps coming up is Remidix or RTX.
Okay.
And the amount of money they're putting into SHIB has dropped.
Okay.
And their trading activity has also gone down. So maybe that suggests that they're not as confident in SHIB as they used to be.
Yeah, that's often a big sign, isn't it?
It can be, yeah.
When the really big money starts moving out, it's like, okay, maybe something's shifting here.
Yeah.
So what is it about this Remidix project that's attracting these investors?
Well, it's raised something like $13 million.
Wow.
In its initial pre-sale.
Okay.
And one of the main drivers seems to be this real-world utility that it offers. Okay.
They have a platform called PayFi, and it's all about making international financial transactions super simple.
Okay.
You can convert crypto into local currencies quickly and easily.
So it's actually solving a real problem.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I think that's really resonating with these investors who are maybe looking for something a bit more tangible.
Yeah, they're looking beyond just the memes and the hype.
Exactly.
They want something that's actually doing something in the real world.
Exactly.
Okay, so Shiba Inu team is working on their ecosystem, but this newer project already has a clear use case right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's right.
And what are analysts saying about the potential of Remidix?
So some analysts are predicting a massive surge for RTX, like potentially as high as 15,540%.
15,000%?
Yeah, based on the technology.
Wow.
The practical application, the growing demand. It's it's understandable why investors would be attracted to that kind of potential upside.
Yeah, especially compared to SHIB, which is a lot more uncertain right now.
Yeah. Okay. I have to ask this because I know a lot of our listeners are probably wondering.
Yeah.
What about the dream of SHIB reaching $1?
The dollar dream.
Yeah. Is that even remotely possible?
So our sources are pretty clear on this.
Okay.
They're saying it's impossible for SHIB to reach $1 in the next 30 days.
Okay.
Just not going to happen.
Right.
The current market conditions, the number of SHIB tokens in circulation, it would take an astronomical amount of money to push the price up that high.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic.
It's a fun thought experiment, but the numbers just don't add up.
No.
Okay, fair enough. But the reports do suggest that there could be some more modest short-term gains, right?
Yeah, potentially. If SHIB can kind of maintain this recovery that we've seen and break through some key resistance levels around 0.000014 and then 0.00002. We could see gains of maybe 50 to 100%.
Okay.
But those are levels where there's historically been a lot of selling pressure.
Sure.
So breaking through them would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so for those who are maybe more into the short-term trading, looking for quick gains, there might still be some opportunities. But for those longer-term investors
Yeah.
who bought into the really ambitious price targets.
The moon.
Yeah. It's probably time to kind of adjust those expectations and focus on the actual progress of the project.
Exactly. Long-term investors really need to focus on the fundamentals, the
Yeah.
real-world adoption of the Shiba Inu ecosystem.
Right.
Not on these crazy price targets.
Yeah. Managing expectations, that's key in crypto.
Absolutely.
Okay. So to sum it all up, we've gone through this amazing story of SHIB's past.
Yeah.
Those crazy price explosions, all the fortunes that were made. We looked at the current situation, the challenges that it's facing, with maintaining that price support in a market that's kind of going down. And we've also talked about the efforts that the Shiba Inu team is making to really build something more robust, something that has real utility in the world.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting about it.
Yeah.
It's this mix of, wild speculation, but also genuine ambition to create something that's lasting.
Yeah, and a really fascinating story. And, as you continue to follow the world of cryptocurrencies, think about this.
Yeah.
We see these massive gains with meme coins like Shiba Inu, but at the same time, there's this push for building real-world utility, and we're seeing new projects popping up that could really disrupt things.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Yeah.
What balance between that speculative potential and the practical application do you think will ultimately determine, the value and the longevity of these digital assets?
That's the question.
It's something to really think about as you continue to explore the crypto space.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.